Welcome to the Personal Pension Radio Podcast, where it's all about helping you complete your financial journey to retirement. Discover time-tested strategies and get unconventional insights into wealth building and retirement that actually work. Break away from the herd and go for the retirement you dream of. And now, here's your host, the income engineer, Kraig.
All right, here we go, back on Personal Pension Radio. That's right, unconventional. Sadly, the things that I talk about and the perspectives that I bring used to be conventional wisdom in the retirement planning space. But nowadays, folks say, I've never heard that before, or I'd never thought of it that way before. My financial advisor never mentioned that. Well, because nowadays it's not the conventional wisdom, largely because Wall Street has successfully taken over the education of financial advisors, and they, of course, control the message, and they teach financial advisors what is best for Wall Street, and that's just that's fair. That's exactly the way, you would do it if you were running your business. If I was running my business, right, as I do, the same thing. You want to do things that benefit your business. Now, my goal is to help you, though, pull back the curtain on that mainstream financial advice so that you can actually ask questions that are right for you. Make sure that you are well prepared. Go in with a little bit of skepticism, a little question in your mind, instead of just simply, okay, let's do that, right? Ask some questions. I was educated by this Wall Street financial advisory machine, and I was never taught to really pay attention or to ask about what was behind the curtains, right? The answer to every question in the investment world is invest more money. Invest more money. You want to retire with maximum income? Oh, well, you need to invest a lot of money. You want to send a kid to college? You got to invest. You got to diversify. You got to dollar cost average, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? It doesn't matter what the question was. If you lost your puppy, it's because you didn't invest enough money. That is not the complete picture for retirement income and retirement income advice. It really isn't. And when you look at the big picture, that's the key. Optimizing retirement income does not happen with a particular product. It doesn't happen with more investments or more life insurance or more 401k or more real estate or more annuities. It doesn't happen with any of these things by themselves in any quantity. It only happens when you have an actual integrated approach. An integrated approach that balances all of these things in the appropriate balance. That's when you hit maximum lifestyle retirement income planning. That's what I do. That's what I get excited about. If you have questions, by the way, don't forget, thank you for sending questions, those of you have. And thank you for some of the reviews on iTunes. I love it. Please keep them coming. You can send your questions or comments right to me at Kraig, Kraig, at KraigStrom, STROM.com. Now, quick disclosure, because I am going to keep today short. I am not an attorney. I am not a certified public accountant. I am a CFP, Certified Financial Planner Professional. Please, as qualified as I might sound with this awesome microphone and really cool podcast setup, please don't act on things that you hear on my show as if you're hearing advice for your specific situation. We should meet. We should actually have a virtual meeting, an in-person meeting, a phone call meeting. We should talk about your situation before you actually take action on anything. And please, goodness me, do not act on things that you hear from financial entertainers. These are people that have no licenses, no regulatory oversight, no consumer protection. Please don't act on things that you hear from financial entertainers like Dave Ramsey and Susie Orman and any number of other people that act out there with no licensing to do so. Now, I do want to share a deal of the week. A deal of the week this week. I have some of you that have listened to the show. You know that I have begun remodeling my kitchen. I do broadcast from my wood shop. I actually have a full-blown wood shop workshop, and I'll build cabinetry and furniture, and this last week I finished building birdhouses for my Rotary Lobster Fest event that I could donate those to the silent auction raffles and all that stuff. So the kitchen remodel has begun. So I have the first bank of cabinets under construction and modification here in my shop. A major part of the kitchen remodel is the lighting. I want to put in new lighting to get rid of the noisy 1970s fluorescents that are there, and can lighting is definitely the way that I want to go. Probably LED can lighting. So if you listen to this show and if you know me, I don't like to pay retail. I like to look for a deal. If I can find a deal, I'll find a deal. So as I search, I pull out my iPhone, of course, and I pull up my Craigslist app. No relation, of course. They spell it wrong with a C. And I find can lights just about 10, less than 15 minutes away from me. Can lights being sold for $30 a box of 6 of them. Now, just give you an idea, can lights are about $15 to $20 a piece at Home Depot. $15 to $20 each at Home Depot. I found a box of 6 for $30. Actually, 2 boxes for $30 each. I saved 67% off retail using my iPhone, and it took me less than 5 minutes. Less than 5 minutes to find the deal when I started searching for can lights. Every time I try this, I guess I still have to think to myself, I can't believe it was that easy. I mean, it was really that easy. It was less than 10 minutes away. That's actually as close or closer than going to Home Depot. I just drove over to this guy, met this guy at his shop. He was an electrical contractor that had a bunch of these can lights left over from a job that they weren't going to use. And that was just as simple as it was. They were just trying to clean out the warehouse because they didn't have another job to use them, so he's just blowing out these things. $30 a box. I love finding a deal. Now, last week on the show, in the Watch Your Step segment, I talked about the financial world never really teaching people how to build the castle correctly. And what I mean by that is your financial castle needs to be built protection first, then savings, which is a good foundation. The protection is your moat around the castle. It's all of your insurances, your life insurance, your disability insurance, your car insurance, all of that. You protect the castle first. You build a strong foundation, which is cash on hand, and then you grow and invest, et cetera, et cetera. And last week I talked about an article in Inc. magazine about a wife who had inherited her husband's company after his death. And my take on that, it still riles me up to think about it. So I'll touch on it if you haven't heard that episode. You've got to go back and listen to that, please. Protection first. I get so frustrated, even with articles like the one I'm referencing. Like, it's this wonderful story of triumph over adversity and yada, yada, yada. You know what? What it was is a story of a husband who didn't buy enough life insurance for his wife and his family and left them to struggle through this unfortunate situation that could have been fixed for maybe a couple $100 a month, right? That's what the story really was to me. It was a really sad story of a husband who didn't do his job. That's according to my perspective, folks. Now keep that in mind. A husband who didn't do his job and get enough life insurance to protect his wife and kids, right? So I take it very personal when I see these things. It bugs me. If you want to listen to the whole thing and my entire take on this story, please go back to last week's episode. Now, this week, watch your step, folks. Okay, listen to this. Watch your step. I actually had a conversation. I was in a conversation at a conference, and it was with two pretty high-profile real estate financiers. These two guys finance, millions and millions of dollars of real estate transactions for investors and fixers and flippers and people who buy rental properties. And these guys do some pretty serious business. They really do some serious business. And they're talking and chatting about things. And I had asked a question like, wow, it is just going fast and furious, isn't it, guys? It's like amazing how quick, things seem to be really just humming. And the one guy says, yeah, it's amazing that we get money in from hedge funds and, investment firms, Wall Street firms are even investing money in us, with our activities. And I said, yeah, going pretty fast, right? And he says, oh, yeah, so fast, in fact, that just recently we had one of these Wall Street firms sent us a wire to invest. They want to invest funds, sent us a wire and didn't have any of the paperwork signed. Like, no paperwork signed, no contract signed, no deal documents signed, and sent the wire. And I said, wow, that's pretty crazy. What did they say? And he said, well, no, don't worry about it. We trust you. Just get us the paperwork. The wire was for $8.5 million. $8.5 million. Now, remember, I was standing there with two guys in the real estate financing business. And the other guy says, oh, yeah. No, that happened to me. That happened to me as well. And then there was a wire for $5 million. $5 million, and the company that wired the money, the Wall Street firm, had not actually signed any paperwork, had not actually officially contracted the money that had been sent over. So here's two guys just that don't really, they just came together in this event, just like the three of us chatting. And one guy like, oh yeah, a wire for $8.5 million. Sure. Oh no, I got a $5 million wire. No paperwork signed. Folks, wow. This, to me, my gut, my mind immediately went to, wow, have we fully entered into a crazy time in the investment world when investment companies are throwing $8 million wires, $5 million wires, probably sending $10 million wires. I mean, if that's happened and just two guys have that same example standing next to each other that are in two completely separate companies, that just tells me Wall Street is just throwing money. Man, they are just throwing money. That investment firms are looking at deals so fast and quick, they don't even have time to sign basic paperwork. Please use this as a reminder, folks. Step back. Don't get caught up in the excitement of the market or a potential investment. Remember the basics. Do your research. Don't skip steps. Holy mackerel. One of the most important rules in real estate is everything is in writing. Everything in real estate is in writing. And here you've got Wall Street companies chucking $8 and $5 million wires at real estate companies for real estate related investments, and they're not even getting paperwork signed. Whoa. Okay. Please don't make that same mistake in your own investment and financial planning decisions. Also, a quick reminder, don't forget, freeze your credit. I've had a number of people who have sent me an email to Kraig@kraigstrom.com so that I can send you back the links to the credit bureaus to freeze your credit. Don't worry. Freezing your credit doesn't lock you up forever. If you need to apply for a loan or something, you can thaw your credit very easily. No worries. I've done that a couple times myself, but my credit is frozen. Okay, so please don't worry about it. Now, there's a great question came in from a listener. I'm going to get to that in a second. Last week, and primarily the reason I'm going to keep it short this week is last week I had a rant. I was so fired up about Mr. Dave Ramsey again. Dave Ramsey behaving like Dave Ramsey does. Please go back and listen to that, right? This is a case where if you ever want to know when I say a financial entertainer should not be giving out financial advice, this is an exact case of where a financial entertainer is completely wrong. Completely just over the top wrong, and I actually called him out. I mean, I just think it's crazy. So if you haven't listened to that, please go back and listen to the last episode. Now, this week, listener question came in, and sadly, I've heard this before. So here's the question. Kraig, I heard you say that you help people with 401k plans. These are, of course, retirement plans at work, right? So he goes on to say, I run a mortgage company and business has been great, which means my taxes have gone way up. My CPA suggested that I open a 401k plan under one of my LLCs. That's a limited liability company, sounds like a separate company. So he says, my CPA suggested that I open a 401k plan under one of my LLCs to avoid having to offer a 401k to my mortgage company employees. Is the 401k the best thing for me, or is there a better option you might suggest? Okay, now, let me tell you right now, stop. Please, I hope you have not already done it. I sent an email back. Please do not do this. Do not open a 401k under a separate LLC. You cannot do that based on federal law. You cannot simply open a 401k under a separate LLC to avoid offering 401k benefits to your other employees at your other company. That would be a huge Department of Labor, ERISA, Employee Retirement Income Security Act, flash reminder, we've got buzzwords and acronyms, right? The Department of Labor would go after you like crazy. You could be fined in a big way. I mean, big. And there's no way to fight that. Your CPA is not going to fight that. You won't be able to. Okay. Sadly, it's not uncommon for me to hear this, that CPAs often either don't know this, they just don't know, or I've had some CPAs I've met over the past, accountants that have said, no, they'll probably never find out. That is not a government agency I would want to deal with and go after, right? This is actually part of what's called the aggregation rule. I think it's the aggregation rule. That if you own multiple companies, you could own 20 different companies. And if you offer a 401k in company number 27, right, you've got to offer a 401k to all of your employees. You can't just discriminate and offer a 401k to one group and not to the rest. If you want more information about this, and if you want to talk about this question that you're asking, which is, how do I offset or adjust or fix my income tax situation, which is what it's really all about, we need to talk, okay? I'd be happy to talk with your CPA about this. Is the 401k right for you? I don't know. I don't know your specific situation. The 401k by itself, without any other income planning, will not be the answer for most people to a happy retirement someday. The 401k is not the answer. The 401k without a bigger income plan overriding and connecting it is usually an expense that does not give the owner commensurate benefits in the future. Remember, the 401k is a tax deferral, not a tax deduction. Your silent partner, Uncle Sam, comes along for the ride in a 401k or IRA, and Uncle Sam will expect payment of taxes in the future. Let's talk about this. If you want to get in touch, you just definitely send me an email, Kraig@kraigstrom.com, but please hear me. If you have a 401k or a retirement plan set up under a separate entity to avoid including employees at another entity, alert, alert, alert. You've got to pay attention. You can't do that. It can be one of the worst audits you've ever had because the penalties are severe, absolutely severe. Quick retirement income reminder. Wall Street's retirement income plan is the 4% rule. The 4% rule. Think about it, folks. You got $500,000 in a 401k, and the average Wall Street advisor says you probably shouldn't take out more than $20,000 a year to start your retirement income. You're like, wait a minute, 4%? And that number's not even right. That number's too high. If it's a Wall Street investment-only plan, the number's about 3 or 3.5%. Folks, the Wall Street retirement income plan is incomplete. Incomplete. A comprehensive retirement income strategy will include more than just investments. And done correctly, the way I prefer to do it, you're looking at retirement income in the 60, 70, 90% more than the Wall Street only option. Get your retirement income analysis done sooner than later. Send me an email, Kraig@kraigstrom.com, and just say income analysis, and we'll actually have a conversation about your specific situation. That's going to wrap it up for today. Please take action. And thank you again to everybody who's left a review. If you feel like this has been good and motivational and fires you up, go to iTunes, leave a quick review. It'll take you just a few minutes. And I love the appreciation, and iTunes loves the appreciation. That's the important one. You know, we got to have iTunes happy, right, folks? Hey, thank you so much. I'll talk to you again real soon. Take care.
Thank you for listening to the Personal Pension Radio Podcast. If you missed anything during the show, that's okay. We took the notes for you. Check the show notes for links, offers, and a full transcript. And don't forget to head over to personalpensionradio.com and download your free retirement income report. While you are there, we would appreciate some iTunes love. Please leave us a fantastic rating on iTunes by going to personalpensionradio.com/iTunes. Thanks again for listening.
Now for the disclosure. Information presented is for educational purposes only and is not intended for solicitation, sale or purchase of any security or financial product. Be sure to first consult with a qualified financial advisor and your tax professional before implementing any strategy discussed here. The term personal pension refers to a marketing name designed to educate future retirees and retirees about the economic principles behind creating their own pension-like income. The term personal pension is not intended to be confused with a defined benefit pension plan offered by an employer or by a government entity.